So this is Baruch, and I'm here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and it's time for us to get into this idea of what's going on in the Birchas Avos. The Birchas Avos is really the introduction and the most important part of the Shemona Esrei. Now, people who don't understand Sod and never learned Sod really don't have an idea what the secrets would be contained. It's like in the Shemona Esrei. The reason why is because they're concentrating just on the particulars and never have an overview of what's actually going on in the tefillah itself. So when you come over to the kavanos, now the kavanos really are machshavos. They're really thoughts that we can have to direct our prayer and our limud. So that as we're going through the Birchas Avos, we have to understand the overall kind of idea, and at the same time, he tells you specific physical kavanos to do, as well as mental kavanos. So how we orient ourselves, what's really going on in this, what's really happening throughout all of the prayer. That's the overview that the ARI wants to be able to give us. So I don't know really where we're at, but I see there's only one place that we could possibly be. And let me just review a couple of ideas that he said. So first of all, the opinion of the ARI is different if you are Ashkenaz like I am, and so that you see that people are not doing anything even close to what they're not aware of the ARI at all in Lithuanian yeshivas or schools, as far as I know at this time. So basically, they have no idea. So what they can do is they can concentrate on just saying the words and translating them. And of course, that without understanding of where you are, it can bring problems in terms of machshavas, different kinds of thoughts creeping into that and taking over your prayer. But I'm thinking that what we want to understand here about learning about the Amida is an overall idea of what's happening and what you can accomplish as a result of this. And one of the things that the Re stays on, this idea, is the alias of the alamos, and the fact that we have stages in davening and that we can really achieve a tremendously high level of closeness to the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. Whether we realize it or not, we can achieve it. And what he wants us to be able to do is recognize what we need to do or give us some fruit along the way that will help us to be able to develop these kavanas the way we want to. So two of the things that he mentioned over here is that the Elias of Olamos is that the phrase Adnis Falsa Tiftal refers to an interface between Olamos, between the Olam of Bria, which is they call the Chechul Kachi Kachi Bria, and the Malchus of Itzilus. And this is actually the level, whether you feel it or you're part of it, but this is actually the level that the prayer brings to you. So he said there are several different things that we have to have in mind. That's one of them. Now, when you get to the word Baruch and you start to say Baruch Atah Hashem, those words have actual actions that he had been talking about that you need to do. So he says all the bowing downs, you bow down on Baruch, and all the rising ups that you rise up on Hashem are doubled. So it's Baruch going down with the body, and then Atah going down with the head, bowing, and then doing the opposite when you say Hashem. You have two different movements in one word. You're going to bring your body up first, and then you're going to bring up your head. Now, he says that this is part of what the way that you have to conduct yourself while you're davening the Shemona Esrei. Now let's go on a little bit more and let's see where I'm going to start over here on page Kuf Ayin Dalit, and we are on page Samach Gimel, and we'll learn as much as we can, as best we can. So he said, "V'hine min oz ha'ez shamarnu dehilas the kale elyon goalom." So that's part of the Shemona Esrei. Kanizka le'el asher oz malka nafik lekabla. This is when the king. What a great intro, and I'm in the wrong place. Oh wow! Well, I had a great info. I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong place. So I didn't look familiar to me. So let's go over here. But the intro that I said is still standing. So he said we're over here then in number on page Nun right? And we're on, I believe we're right here. Now, we might have gotten a little further, but I'm not sure. Okay. So he said, al yedei zivug abba ve'ima. Now, we've seen this, we saw this, we listened to the shir in the Kriya Shema, we're talking about the yichud between abba ve'ima. Hanirmez b'shlosha shemus havaya alokeinu havaya. So we went to the word Baruch, Atah Hashem. Then we're going to get to alokeinu ve'alokei avoteinu. What happens there? This represents the yichud between Abba ve'Ima. B'pasuk Shema Yisrael. So the Shema Yisrael is Hashem, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Alokeinu, Hashem Echad. These are the middle words, the Hashem Elokeinu Hashem, and this comes out of the Shema Yisrael. Niknasu Shisha Kitzvahs the Malchim. Now, this, if you listen to the Shir and Shema, you hear the exact same thing. What happens is that when you do this, come into Zer Anpin, the 6 kitzvahs of the mochin of godless. But now that was a yichud that took place way back when you said the Kriya Shema, but you're not in Kriya Shema anymore. You're now in Amida. So but now we have to motivate, or arouse a yichud between Abba ve'Ima again bebracha zu. Kadei lahaknis bo shlosha mochem rishona de betzad Ima, in order to bring in the gar from the side of Ima. Ayidei tosefes ha'ara shatimshach b'zah timshach b'zah. And how does this happen? It happens, he says, the words are al yedei tosefes ha'ara, because of a greater illumination, shatimshach b'zah, that is extended into Zeranpin. Ayidei zeh hazivug hasheni the Abba ve'Ima, and through this makes the second zivug between Abba ve'Ima. Now, personally, I don't understand this, so I'm going to read the tiv on it and try to understand. V'yakansu gam came acher kach kol hatesha mocha de betzad Abba, and then all the rest of the mocha de betzad Abba come into Ayidei tosefes ha'ara, because there's more and more light. The Moshe is boyer ba'ezer Hashem, and we're going to explain this with God's help. Well, that's good. Let's go over here to number pay, way down here at the bottom. We do have a slight problem in terms of the book is at the end, so we'll just try to prop it up as best I can. So he says here, over here, he says, Masha Kasev Shechazivuk da Abba Be'iman Nirmez Barabaya Elokeinu Abaya. So we said that when back at the Kriya Shema, and for those of us who are learning the Kriya Shema, we haven't gotten to it yet, but he's telling you this now. It's the same Torah. So the even near Mezbechavaya alokeinu Chavaya. So we got the Shema Yisrael. Yisrael is a button word, and now he says 3 more buttons. Havaya alokeinu Chavaya produces a yichud. Ein hakavana shesham hu hazivuk. So it doesn't want to say that the yichud we're talking about is there. Shaharin is bar shazivuk kuba b'tevis echad. So that's the setup. It's a setup for the yichud. But the yichud has to wait till Hashem alokeinu. That's a subject to be discussed over in Shema. Let's go on over here. So he says like this. Let me get this look a little bit better. He says, because when you say the Kriya Shema, when we said it, it came into Zer Anpin, Rak Shisha Kitzvos, the Malkin, the Godless, the Ima. When during the Kriya Shema, we are bringing a greater capacity for enlightenment, tremendously more powerful than what our normal losses are, the way that we're always plagued by all the different problems in this world, and going, these are mochadakandas. And so at this point, though, when you say the Kriya Shema, you're bringing in mochin the godless, which is, so to speak, a sweetener for all of that difficult problem. But it's only 6 kitzvahs, not the whole, not all of this of the spheros. That we had talked before, and we had explained how the Netzachod, Yisod, and Ima come into the head of Zer Anpin, and particularly in the Netzachod and Yisod are 3 different compartments, and we mentioned those compartments. And they're going to go to 3 different places in the construction. They're going to, out of these 3 compartments, the top one, the middle one, and the bottom one, are to construct really the head, the aspects of the head, because there's three of them. There's one on each side and one in the middle. and he said that they're going to spread from the upper section will build the head, the middle section will build the body, and the lower section will build down to the bottom, which is called the nai, or the netzach yisod of Zeranpin. So the nai of Ima comes into the head of Zeranpin in three sections of each part of the legs. There's two legs and a yisod. Each has three sections, as we say. So he says, let's go on. There has to be another yichud that's going to take place between Abba and Ima. Besides the one that was in Echad the Kriya Shema, because you still do not have all of the mochin in, all the parts of the mochin. So that word zivug zeh hu rak kedei lahaknis the mochin bezah. This is only all that does for you is bringing the mochin dezah bazah. Shahari kavar noldu kulam b'tevis echad the kriya shema. So he says all of the, when you say, they said the zivug zehu rak kedei lahikones mochin bazah. So when you say alokeinu to make it possible for the mochin to go mezazah, shahari kavar noldu kulam, because b'tevis, when you say the word echad, the kriya shema, you already have all of the mochin produced. But the only part that goes in, the hainu chochma bin das shal mochin amalubashin bepirkim el yondu deny the ima. This is what we were saying before. That is that they're divided into three prakim, which are three sections. El yondu deny the ima. He said with them, Sarat la'asos zivug chodosh to abba ve'ima shemehem nimshach tosefes ara bazah. Now, the way that I understand it is in the Kriya Shema, you're able to produce a yichud between Abba ve'ima that allows for the zat, what they call the zayin tachtonos of Ima, of godless of Ima to come in, but nothing of Abba, and nothing of the gar of Ima. Kadesha yuklo the hikanes bo shlosh rishonos the boch the bitzat Ima. In other words, that's called the gar. That's the chabad, the chachma b'nedas. So he says, so now you have a yichud, and they come in. Shlosh rishonos the ima. Yikansu gam came a mochin dezasha the bitzad abba chabavubashin b'teisha prakim deny the abba. So as this is happening, you're also bringing in all of the mochin that come from the side of abba. So he said, the hainu shebekriya shema. Let's just go over this. He said because it's a little complicated. He says in the Kriya Shema, zivug Abba ve'ima. So what you're really looking at there is to make a yichud between Abba ve'ima, in order to give birth to all of the mochin. All of the mochin are gestating in ima, and now to give birth to all of that, that's what the Kriya Shema accomplished. The zivug zeh will rock lahaknis bezach mochin the shisha kitzvahs the ima, but that yichud is not strong enough. That is, the yichud of Abba ve'ima is not strong enough. So therefore, it only is able to bring in. He calls it the shisha kitzvahs the ima, that is the lower six spheres of ima. That's the godless of ima, and nothing from Abba, and not the gar of ima. So in order to bring in also the gar of ima, the chabad, we call the mochin the abba bazah. You have to bring more light into Zer Anpin Ayede Zivo Gasheni the Abba ve'ima. Now this is where my question is. He says you have to bring in order to, let's read again. Where's it? The Haknis Gam Shlosh Rishonas the Ima, which is called the Gar. In order to bring the Gar from Ima into Zer Anpin, and then all of the Mochin the Abba, that is the Chabad Chagat Nai, the Abba. To go into Zah, you have to stream a tremendous amount of light into Zah Ayedei Zivug Hasheni the Abba ve'ima. In order for this to happen, you have to have something that takes place, and that's why I'm trying to be careful about how I'm reading this. Tzarech lachamshik tosefes ha'ara. You have to have Zah needs more light, Zah. So how does he get it? Ayedei Zivug Hasheni the Abba ve'ima, because Abba ve'ima need to make a second yichud. Hanirmas b'tevis alokeinu be'alokei avoteinu. Now that's the we've seen this before. But laholan bebir kavanas elu hatevas. Now later on, we're going to get into the whole idea of what happens when you say those words. So the word button seems like it's a little bit trite. I don't know exactly the right word to use for it, but it is that these and magic buttons is just a way of thinking about it. Because if that is the kavanah you should have, that by saying the word Yisrael, something happens. By saying Hashem alokeinu alokei avoteinu, by saying that, those words, each one of them has a particular function and power. This is Baruch Fleischman, and this has been Shir on the Amida.